Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Up with Joe Weaver shift update for November 2024. Welcome back, everyone. Here we are. It's amazing that 3 or 4 weeks have passed since the last time I've done one of these. And the amount of things that have gone on in the world in the matter of this period of time is simply incredible. So these shift updates, for those of you that might not have seen one of these before, is simply providing information to assist you with these changing times, providing information and resources to assist with the connection with your true, authentic identity and being able to adjust and change during these shifts that we have going on in the world to align yourself with more harmony and balance, more peace, happiness, and connection with your true, authentic identity. For those of you that don't know, I offer remote energetic clearings and coaching. For those of you that would like more information on that, you can view my website. The link is below in the description, joe-weaver.com. These private sessions are done remotely, and they're mainly focused on giving you the space and the time and the resources, tips and suggestions to connect with yourself to a greater degree, either through mastering your thoughts, connecting with your authentic self of your I am presence, releasing trauma, releasing fear, releasing patterns of restriction and resistance that you may be holding on to that is restricting your expansion of your awareness and consciousness. That is what those services are designed for. So again, if anybody would like any information on that, you can, again, the link is in the description of the video below. So, all right, getting into the topics of this month's shift update. The first one is there are no mistakes. It's very easy for us to look at ourselves and the choices we've made and continually hold this maybe guilt or shame and judgment upon ourselves for our past decisions and how those decisions have gotten us in the place that we are currently within. And we might be seeing that we should not be where we are, and therefore we're holding this judgment about ourselves according to where we are and what we have going on in our lives. So there are no mistakes when it comes to our path of what we're going through in this life. In a lot of different ways, what we view as a mistake is simply a stepping stone that have gotten us into a level of more awareness. Sometimes we have to make these choices that we might view as mistakes, but really what they are is opportunities for us to see what we have been holding on to, like the judgment and so on. Is there are no mistakes. In the whole scheme of things, there are no mistakes. So the matter of releasing the judgment and say loving that those what things that we have done in the past, the choices we have made to get to where we are right now, and seeing that within the whole scheme of things, everything is within divine order. In one way or another, It doesn't matter how we may view things, everything is in divine order. The main choices we have is how we are going to experience things in different ways. We learn from different, what we view as mistakes or the stepping stones or the pain and the suffering or whatever, is that we learn from things and then we expand and we continue to expand. This is the main topic leading, or the main theme going into a lot of the topics in this shift update. So that leads us into the world of ultimate distractions. We are living in this space of ultimate distractions. We have all these things going on in the world right now. You could say the COVID deception and distraction. We could say the religious distraction and deceptions. We have the political divide and separation, distractions, and so on. The wars on the planet. And we have these continual world of ultimate distractions. It's very easy for us to get caught up in these distractions. There's no doubt about that. These days it's almost continuous, as some of you have been seeing. It's quite wild with the amount of things that we have going on. We have so much in the news regarding Russia and Israel, and all the craziness that is being created in the Middle East. And in one way or another, everything is playing out. Again, as I mentioned in the previous topic, in divine order. Everything is working its way out. How we go through these changes and through these shifts and these distractions and how we handle these distractions, again, all has to do with our own alignment with ourselves. If we go into fear, if we go into worry, if we go into anxiety about what could happen next and so on, we're not truly aligning with ourselves. We're not truly aligning with our own peace and harmony as we're in the midst of this chaos in the world right now. And so I have mentioned this in previous shift updates, the importance of aligning yourself with your authentic selves, of your peace and your love of within your own being. It's not a matter of contraction and or restriction, but expansion and encompassing everything that's going on and being able to observe these distractions and these things going on to a point where they're not rocking our world. They are not totally we're in a constant space of stress. So really observe yourself and how you are going through these ultimate distractions, because that's the time period we're currently in. We're in the world and the time period of ultimate distractions. So take care of yourself, my friends. Observe yourself and the energy that you are existing within. If you're in a space of stress and worry, anxiety, and so on, is realign, recenter yourself. Breathe, relax. Pretty much that goes into this next part that I see that is really apparent now more than I have seen before, is that things are being amplified. So we have these distractions, we have all these different things going on in the world. We not only have the energetic amplification that we are going through, integrating higher frequencies of energy, and as we are integrating these higher frequencies of energy, it brings to the surface all the lower frequency energies that we are holding on to. Not only individually, but as a collective. These things are really playing out in the world right now. But as with the previous topic of the world of ultimate distractions, a lot of these distractions are being fabricated, amplified, such as within the media and so on. A simple thing, for example, could be amplified to create drama. Another thing that is being amplified is the weather, which some of you have known about regarding the flooding in the western part of North Carolina and Tennessee. These storms have been creating these breaking records, such as the storm that was in the North Carolina mountains is said to be a 1,000-year flood. Well, really think about this. We have, people can view this however you want, but these forms of weather manipulation have people been experimenting with manipulating the weather for over 100 years. And for example, in the Vietnam War, which is a little over 50 years ago now, there was a secret program, weather modification program by the U.S. government called Project Popeye. And you can search for it on the internet if you wish, where they manipulated the weather to where there was more rain within the monsoon season. So these types of technology, and you can imagine how the weather modification technology has developed and over the last 50 years since the Vietnam War. And so the storms and so on are being amplified to fit in an agenda. And from the way I see it and everything I'm seeing and the information I'm getting and verifying, it has to do with the project, or say the 2030 agenda. It has to do with, climate change, the whole climate change hoax and so on. This whole thing is a setup for more control, more restrictions, less freedoms for the people, and so on. Again, you can take of this as you want. But the reason why, so it's not really a matter of if weather modification technology exists, because the proof is out there that it does exist. It's a matter of seeing that these agendas are in play to pretty much, and these let me rephrase that. They're setting the stage for the 2030 agenda of the weather modification and so on the whole climate change hoax to keep people in the state of, wow, okay, yes, we have all of these things going on around the planet now that wasn't happening before. So therefore, we're going to blame that on the climate change. That's pretty much getting finally around to the main topic of this whole thing. Why else would people agree to climate change restrictions and so on if they didn't see a reason for it? So that's the reason why I'm seeing that the increase of them amplifying storms to have these natural storms to have more, say, more rain, more power, more damage and destruction, and so on. So there's a lot of things being amplified, not only the weather, but all of these different things going on in the world are majorly being amplified to distract people and to funnel people's awareness in a certain directions that's going to fit the agenda for which is being played out. So, my friends, don't fall for the fear porn, as I like to say. Don't fall for the agendas of control and manipulation. So that leads us into the next topic. What to do with upcoming change. You know, as I just described, we have all these amplification of energy coming in, making us more energetically sensitive. The amplification of things within the media and the news, the amplification of the weather. It could pretty much get into a point of the anxiety of what is going to happen next. What is going to happen next? What's incoming? What's upcoming in the days ahead? It's very important to stay centered within yourself during these times of change, within these shifts. To realign yourself to be more centered in, say, love. If you really look around in this world and all of the craziness and the fear and the worry, stress, anxiety, judgment of not only yourself but other people in the world, and the separation, there's only a few different ways to go to where you can really stay centered. And the ultimate main place of that is within the levels of your own peace and harmony. And the easiest way to stay within that space is self-love. Love without conditions for everything that's going on within this wild and crazy adventure that we're within. And not to get caught up in what's, say, happening next. You can be prepared, of course. Of course, if there's a storm coming, you know of, and you pretty much, it might be beneficial for you to say, well, okay, where am I going to get my water from if the power goes out? What am I going to do do I have cash on hand? Do I have cash to pay for things when the electricity goes out? Because stores and gas, and as we're finding out in the North Carolina mountains, when the power goes out, you can't use your credit cards. So it's one thing to be prepared for change, which is actually very beneficial for your own well-being, is to be prepared. But while at the same time release the stress and the worry and the anxiety. Sometimes the more prepared we are for change, then that actually, as that change comes through and these shifts and these weather changes and everything else, that are going on, as they are going on, we are prepared. Therefore, we are more relaxed through what is going on. And we're able to assist other people through, whatever event happens more efficiently because of how we were prepared ourselves. And so, it's easy to get caught up in what could change, what could happen next. But the main thing is what we are doing now to be aligned with whatever happens. It doesn't matter really what happens because of how we are tuned in with ourselves at this point and the things we have in place to the best of our ability to know that no matter what happens, we are going to be okay. And for everyone to sort of ask themselves these questions, to saying, okay, what do I got going on? What do I need to prepare for it? Or what do I need to have set up to where if another storm comes through, another hurricane comes through, what do I have in place to where I'm going to be able to go through this to the best of the resources and everything I have around me. Therefore, there's less stress. Less stress and less worry, less fear. The better you are off energetically and vibrationally, the more in tune you will be with yourself and with the changes that are taking place. That's pretty much the easiest way to explain that. So, moves us into the next topic. You don't have to believe in anything, or you don't have to believe in something. With these changes taking place, a lot of people are really holding on to their beliefs even more when we're going through major challenges and so on. People fall back into their beliefs and say, I'm glad I have these beliefs too as a security blanket and so on. As I have shared in the past, one of the main things if you wish to believe in something, is to believe in yourself. There's nothing, the beliefs in themselves are illusions. So let me ask you this question. Let me phrase it like this instead. Do you know your mother and father? Or do you believe you know your mother and father? You know your mother and father who is. You know who they are. It's a knowingness. You know them firsthand. You don't believe you have a mother and father. You know them. So the going into this time period of more realization of our true, authentic identities is a matter of releasing the beliefs to where we know more. We know our authentic self to a greater degree. We know our I am presence and our eternal self to a greater degree. The beliefs in themselves, whether you could be it a belief that you're holding on to about yourself or a religious belief or something, are temporary experiences that we are holding on to until we experience the real truth. Once we experience the real truth, it's no longer a belief. It's a knowingness. So my suggestion is to release when you catch yourself believing in something, is to say, no, I wish to know the truth. I release these beliefs. I wish to know the truth. I wish to know my true origin of my identity, eternal identity, my authentic self. of who I truly am. That's my suggestion. There is no real right or wrongs regarding all of this. There are only choices. If you wish to believe in something, then go all about it. Just believe whatever you wish. But what I am sharing with you is a choice. If you wish to know the real truth, then release the beliefs. All right, that takes us into the next thing. What is spirit? We have these different beliefs, as I was describing in the last topic, regarding beliefs and so on. And there's a lot of people that say, well, spirit told me this, or spirit told me that, or I am praying to spirit, or I believe in spirit, and all these different things related to spirit in itself. My definition of spirit, the word spirit, would be spirit is essentially everything within existence that is organic in nature. And the reason why I say organic in nature is if you had a plastic bowl in front of you that is artificial, it doesn't necessarily really have any spirit. It's not connected to spirit. And so therefore, that's the reason why I said organic in nature. If you had a plant or a flower or something that derived from like wood or sand, anything that has to do with our physical bodies, for example, or is it organic in nature? Those are the things that are either have spirit or connected to spirit. And so in reality, if you look around, nearly everything is spirit. You could say the air, the spirit of ether, the spirit of fire, the element of earth itself has spirit. The earth itself has its own spirit. Our individual being, spirit, soul, essence of our authentic self, and so on. So I guess the main reason why I am bringing up the topic of spirit, just the word spirit, what is spirit, is to see that everything is spirit. So if you say, well, spirit told me this, my suggestion is to tap in and find out what level of your being that information actually came from. It's not just spirit. There's more to it. Just as a flower is spirit, has spirit, just like a tree has spirit. You can tap into the tree and the seed, it actually holds knowledge. The same thing with rocks, formations on the earth, or crystals. It has spirit. It's connected to spirit. It also holds knowledge. And so and then this has to do with, more self-mastery, becoming more aware of how we are connected into all that is. Having more definition and information of how we are connected to all that is, and so on, is to gain more definition, refine how and where you're getting information from, what you are talking to, and or what you're receiving information from. So if a spirit in itself, the word spirit is a very, very broad term. And so when you say, I received this from spirit, well, did you receive it from the spirit of that tree over there? where did it come from? And so find, ask more questions, become more detailed of what you are, where you're getting information from, what you're connecting into. Gain more detail about where and how you are receiving information and what you are describing as spirit. That's my suggestion, my friends. That moves us into the next thing, which is very similar, is, are you a person? This is the information for this one started coming in about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it's sort of evolved. It has to do with our identity. And then, with the previous topic, I talked about, what is spirit? And so, yes, you could say, well, I am an eternal spirit. I am an eternal being. Yes. I am infinite light. Yes. But at the same time, as the question is imposed, like, are you a person? Is all you see yourself is as a person? Or do you see yourself more than a person? Do you see that you are existing? Your physical body is just a person? In a lot of different ways, we were told that we are a person, or we identify as a person, when really we are a eternal consciousness existing within a biological computer of this physical body. Our physical body is not just a person. It's a biological computer. Our consciousness, our, say, authentic, eternal self, is existing through this biological computer that has programs running on it, has patterns, it has all kinds of different energies and vibration. So the whole thing about a person, and this is the interesting little example I would like to give to you. If you're simply identifying yourself as a person, when really you are much more than a person. You're much more than that. We are all much more than that. It's very similar to the way that people are, even though they might have a male body, for example, they're identifying as something different than their male body. They're identifying as something like a cat. I am no longer a male body, but now I am a cat. I'm a feline person. Or I'm a mermaid, or I'm a reptilian, or I was born a male, but now I'm a female. Again, not coming from a judgmental level of, say, good, bad, right, wrong, whatever else. Has to do with identification. So if you had these identifications of, I am this, I am that, I believe this to be true, I believe I am now a cat, for example. Really, are we being authentically true with our eternal identity? Or are these temporary identities that we have taken on and imposed upon ourselves? Of course, as the person, it's something fucking burning. Wow, okay. That was crazy. Talk about distractions. I was smelling smoke. And I was talking, I'm not sure if you saw me looking around. I was smelling smoke. Still smell it a little bit. And I swear I was seeing smoke in the room. And so I was like, what the hell's going on? And so I had to pause to make sure everything was all right. So anyway, everything's all right. So talk about distractions, how easily we can be distracted about different things. And the things could be amplified. Wow. That's another good example. I'm in the midst of it right now. That was crazy. Okay, so hopefully this video and everything else will continue to, I have to work out how to edit this thing. So, all right. So I was talking about identities and how we identify as a person, but we are much more than a person. I got to put this thing back on so I can hear myself. Wow, freaking crazy. All right. So we identify as being a person, but really, as I mentioned, we are the consciousness within this biological computer of a physical body. The more that we connect into our true identity of our authentic self, the more that we remember who and what we truly are. And so my suggestions of bringing up this are, the question is, are you a person? To really ask yourself that. What are you? Who are you? And see what beliefs that you've been holding on to, that you've been imposing and projecting onto yourself. And or beliefs that you are holding on to that you may be projecting onto other people. So to really just observe, again, this whole thing of self-realization has to do with seeing how we've been seeing reality and how we identify ourselves within this reality and the separation that we're holding on to. So release these beliefs, release these identities as much as you can, and saying, I am only this, when we are truly much more. So that takes us into the next one, which is refining your consciousness. This whole process of ascension, all the word ascension means is change, has to do with us refining, as I mentioned in the previous topic of are you a person, is refining how we view ourselves, how we identify ourselves, what we are, what we know about ourselves, and so on. We go through the process of releasing different fears, self-mastery, going through our own personal transformation. Again, personal transformation is just a matter of changing your view on things, changing how our view is on our different fears, our worries, our stress. What things used to stress us out no longer stress us out. Therefore, we've gone through a process of transformation in order to get to that place. And refining, the word refining in itself is the same as when a refinery changes oil into gas, for example, the gas that we run in the car. Refining in itself could be the process of a lump of coal turning into a diamond. The coal went through a process of pressure, heat, and that over a period of time turned into a diamond. So the same thing goes through that we are going through. We're going through the process of turning from a carbon-based, you can say, lump of coal into a diamond. And that process is a matter of releasing. It's a matter of change and a refining of who and what we are. That process also, as I mentioned in previous shift updates, takes willingness. We have to have the willingness in order to change, in order for us to change from that lump of coal into the diamond. So it's a ongoing process that every single day requires some type of effort to want to change, to want to go from the coal into the diamond, a more clearer quartz, and so on. So just see, again, the reason why a lot of these topics, I bring up these topics, is for self-reflection, for you to look at yourself and how these different topics, how these different words, how they reflect within the spectrum of your awareness like a prism. And how the light shines through that prism is how it shines on the wall of the different colors and so on. And we are basically that. And so to release these things and what's distorting the full spectrum of who you truly are from flowing and shining out through your physical body. All right, so that makes us into the next topic, which is mastering your thoughts. Mastering your thoughts is a very expansive topic. A lot of the topics that I share in these shift updates relate to mastering your thoughts. I think in previous updates and so on, I'll probably offer different tips and suggestions on mastering your thoughts. It's something that I work with people on, and that's, through the coaching, program and so on. And so this, a lot of people would say, well, it's impossible to master your thoughts. Well, let me give you this example. Do you ever change your mind? Say if you are walking down the street, you think you're going to go left on the sidewalk, and then all of a sudden you're like, I really need to go to this store down here first. So I'm going to veer off to the right, and I'm going to go down to this other store first. You changed your mind. You were going in this direction, and all of a sudden, pop, you decided to go in the other direction. That is a matter of changing a thought. You changed the direction of which way you were going. You were changing what you were think you were going to do. That's a good example of mastering your thoughts. When the information comes in and the information is there, no matter what it is, just say if it's a fear. So how do you move beyond that fear of that specific thought? Well, if you continue to have fear, of course, you're going to have, if you say, well, you have fear, fear is not going to remove more fear. You have to use a different mechanism to release the fear, or release the worry, or the whatever it is. Whatever is in your mind, like a food that you really don't want to eat, but it continues to be in your mind. It's a matter of changing the thought. You can clear the one thought, and then you can basically focus on a different thought. And then you can go in the other direction. So it's really a topic or a process that could be talked about, all day long. I can go and give in different examples and so on. But the process of mastering your thoughts, and so on is essential in the times that we're currently living in and which we are moving into. Is to be, as I used to use the example of taking things off of automatic pilot and becoming more in manual mode, is that you are manually being able to focus on what you wish to focus on within your mind. And if other things come in, you're able to clear them and realign yourself and realign your thought process. So it's an essential thing going forward. A lot of people are going to be, you could say, more challenged if you don't take the time to start mastering your thoughts. You may become overwhelmed with the amount of information that's going through your mind, and therefore you're like, I'm stressed out, and so on. There's ways to handle that. There's techniques to handle the amount of information that's going through your mind. There's ways to manage that. And so that's the reason why I bring that up. Mastering your thoughts. Take the time to do it. All right, moving into a different topic here that I've shared before, and this is the word of the month, which is light language. A lot of people might not have ever heard of what light language is. And there's different varieties of light language, just like there are different, say, languages, of within humanity on planet Earth. Go to different regions and countries in the world, people speak different languages. Just as through the universe, different lineages and beings and so on speak different languages. And, this is basically light language. There are a lot of people, when they channel, say, different beings and light beings and so on, they channel light language. So there's different, the one thing that was basically an example that was coming to me to share was Shina O Tuum. Shina O Tuum. The actual light language in itself, I'm not a big channeler of light language, but I'm giving you some examples about light language. In a lot of different ways, just like if you went to a different country and you couldn't speak the language, you wouldn't have a clue about what they were talking about, or like even how to ask how to go to, say, the toilet or restroom, or how to order a drink. In the same way, I sort of see light language, and a lot of people give their power away to light language. It's like, oh wow, this person is channeling light language, so and essentially giving their power away to whatever the person is channeling. Say, wow, that must be some very far out, spiritual kind of information or whatever. So I guess the main topic and the main reason for me to bring up the whole topic of light language is to not give your power away to light language. It is only a language, just like English language, French, Spanish, or any other Portuguese or anything else there is on planet Earth. Don't give your power away to light language. It's not bad or good. I'm not saying it's bad or good or whatever. It just is what it is. A lot of people that channel light language, they don't even know exactly what the information is, what it means. They're just allowing it to flow. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. But again, they might not even know what the information they're channeling means. And the same goes for the people that are listening to it. They just might not even have a clue about what that information means. I do want to point out, I do know that some things can be conveyed more easily through light language. So it's easier to be conveyed through light language than it would be, say, in English language. It's either easily the energy of what's trying to be conveyed could be conveyed more easily through light language. So that is something that is important to point out. So therefore, somebody that specializes in light language and it is a very pure channel of that specific type of light language and wants to convey something in a way that is more easily conveyed in light language, yes, I could see a reason for that. But overall, for most people, they don't know what it means, what's truly being conveyed. So just take it with a grain of salt. Don't give your power away to people, to the information that's being conveyed through light language, and or to the people that are simply channeling the information. Again, they are just people that is tuning into a certain resonance, either their own level of their own star family, their own true, say, another aspect of their own being, and or a being of, say, an Arcturian being or whatever, that is channeling the light language. So I'm not trying to I don't want to make this any complicated or anything else. I guess the main reason for it, again, is just bringing awareness that light language is simply just a language, just like English language. The second thing is don't give your power away to light language in itself. Just because it's light language doesn't mean, this person's advanced spiritually and therefore we need to give our power away to this person just because they are able to convey a certain type of light language. Again, stand in your power. Integrate your own true knowingness of who you truly are. We do not need to learn light language in order to remember who we truly are and integrate back into wholeness. Light language is just a tool of communication, just as the English language. Stand in your power, as always. Okay, that was the word of the month. All right, now moving into the next part. This is the affirmation of the month, which is, I release the program of suffering. So you just say that out loud if you wish, or within your mind. I release the program of suffering. It goes into the meditation that we're getting ready to do next. If you really look at suffering, I think the easiest way to, because I'm already going into the meditation, so we'll just go straight into the meditation of releasing suffering. You can take some deep breaths, close your eyes, align yourself, relax. You can listen to this as many times as you wish. The main thing about suffering is that in suffering, in the majority of cases, is a choice. As Osho pointed out many years ago, along with many others, have said, there's one thing that is almost like essential to happen, or that we are going to, pain is in, that's what I'm getting ready to say. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable. In one way or another, and when my voice is now starting to switch into light language, as as just talking about that a little bit ago. Pain is inevitable. So the one way or another in this life, is physical life, we go through pain in one thing and us. We hit our toe, we have pain. Our muscles, pain. We can have a headache, pain. We can have fear, which creates pain. Fear, worry, anxiety creates stress, which causes pain in the physical body. Fear in itself could be viewed as pain. Fear could be viewed as the suffering due to pain of a trauma that we're holding on to that we haven't released yet. Once we release the trauma, then the suffering goes away. So a lot of these, this time period that we're currently in is being okay of how we actually go through pain. How and the choices we make to suffer. How long we wish to suffer. If we have a loss of something, how long are we going to suffer after that loss? That's again a choice. We can release the pain, and therefore we're not going to suffer. The pain of the loss of something, someone, again. We can choose to have gratitude. We can choose to love that person or that thing and be thankful for the experience that we had with them or with whatever it is. We can then release the actual option or the choice of being in suffering. If we hold on to the pain of the loss of that person, and we hold on to that, and we're actually continually feel that loss or the missing of that person. We can hold on to that pain for years and years. Or again, we can have the choice to love and have gratitude, have joy, focus on the joyful moments, focus on the eternal aspect of who and what that person was and who that person is currently, even though they're not in a physical body any longer. And to tune into the eternal aspect of that being, or that person, or that thing, or that animal, and so on. Therefore, there's no more suffering. It's a process of release of a certain type of the program in itself. The program of saying, I release the program of suffering. And you can say that to yourselves now. See, when you say that, what may pop up. I release the program of suffering, because really it is a program. As that I shared previously in some of the other topics in this month's update, We are a biological computer. Our physical bodies are a biological computer running with programs that our consciousness, our eternal aspect of who we truly are, is experiencing reality through. It is these types of programs that we have the choice to live through, that are essentially existing within our biological computer. Just as the fear program, the fear matrix, again, is something that we can experience life through, or we can make different choices to release and no longer experience that suffering of the fear matrix, of the fear program. The same thing with the suffering program is to see that it's a program of patterns. It's a program of beliefs. It's a program of perceptions that we essentially opt into and say, this is how I experience life. And it's, again, there's nothing bad. It's not bad or good. It's just is. It's in a choice that we are choosing to live through. It is the consciousness that we are living through. So my suggestion to you all, my friends, is to breathe. When you are feeling pain, if you are feeling suffering of any kind, is to breathe with it. See that this pain and this suffering is able to move. It is not a stagnant, concrete block, but it can move, it can change, it can be refined into a lighter version. Just as the coal into the diamond, as the water into the vapor mist, and so on. You can breathe through it, allow it to move, breathe it out, release it. Release the pain, release the suffering. See where you are still holding on to pain. Find the root cause of that pain. Come to terms with the original root cause of that pain, and then come to terms with it and release it. Have gratitude. Focus on love without conditions. Transmute it into a lighter form and see it be vaporized into the mist, into the water vapors that go off into the air. See it evaporate. Release the suffering. Release the self-imposed suffering. The saying, well, I am grieving, and I feel guilty if I do not grieve for a certain period of time for this person leaving physical form. Again, that is self-imposed suffering. Instead, you have the choice to be joyful. Have happiness. Radiate that happiness, joy, and gratitude to the person that is left form now as an internal, back into their internal aspect of their authentic being, and have gratitude and light and see them in that lighter form instead of continually projecting it and seeing them in a lower dense form. So again, the choice of suffering is time for release. It's the time for to release the suffering, to release the pain. There is no doubt that we're going to have more pain. It could be very challenging times when we see other people in pain and we feel that pain. We feel and see them suffering. It's even more essential when we see and experience this in other people going through the pain and suffering is to focus on the love. Love without conditions onto them and everything they have going on. Just because someone else is feeling pain and suffering, it does not mean that you need to feel pain and suffering. You do not need to experience and suffer just to be compassionate. You can still, at the same time, instead, stand beside them and focus on love, being love. Radiate the love. Not just send love, but be the love that encompasses them and every single thing that they got going on. Therefore, they are able to move through their own pain and suffering with greater ease because of the light and the love that you are radiating all around them. We do not need to take the pain and suffering away from anyone or anything, nor do we need to take on the pain and suffering from anyone or anything. We do not need to transmute it for anyone or anything, the same as we do not need to take on any type of perceived pain from the earth and or feel like we have to take on this pain and suffering of the earth and therefore transmute it through ourselves. Again, these are beliefs that are not needed. The simple act of making the choice to be love, to be the wholeness of your eternal aspect of your intimate being in the physical form and just be that love, transmutes, again, pain and suffering into freedom, into a lighter form. We do not need to be the conduit for, again, pain and suffering of other things, but simply just be the love that allows the aspects of whatever you are seeing, other beings, other people, other places, other things, to release that density in their own ways and to have their own self-realization of being able, the process of releasing the suffering themselves. So we can't really take the pain away from someone or something else. We can only love them to the point to where they make the choice to release the pain and suffering themselves. So that's the process, my friends. To release the program of suffering within ourselves to the point we become the conduit of that love to radiate to everyone else to where they then can make the choices to release the programs of the suffering and the fear and so on themselves. Remember to breathe through it and release it. Breathe through it and release. Live and love on, my friends. Love on. Infinite. The infinite cosmic love and light that I am flows to you all. And may you do the same to every single thing that you see and feel and sense within your wholeness of your being is just radiate to every single thing you see. Every single thing you see within separation, everything you might see that is out of separation or out of place, just radiate. Release these programs of limitation and resistance, because that's all they are. Is they are simply restrictions that we're holding on to. All right, my friends. To recap this month's update, remember, there are no mistakes. We are living in a world of ultimate distractions. Everything is being amplified. So stay centered within the level and the center of your being in your own love and peace and harmony. Don't fall into the anxiety and stress of the upcoming changes. Remember to focus on knowingness and release the beliefs. Redefine what you know as what is spirit, and truly tap into who and what you are. Are you a person, or do you see yourself as an infinite light being existing within a biological computer? Refine your consciousness and continue to refine it, just as we have been for many years. See that you are already the diamond, and just become more and more clear of who and what you are. Master your thoughts on a daily basis. Don't give your power away to the light language. It's only a form of communication. Release the program of suffering. Remember, I released the program of suffering. All right, then, my friends. That is it. Boost it, my friends. Boost and amplify the light and love that you are. Don't hold back any further, any longer, and release these restrictions. Till next time, my friends. Peace out.